As Shayton said, I'm David, and this is Bobby. We're going to do the presentation in two sections. I'm going to try to give you a little bit of an overview.
Can I ask you, can we know a little bit about you before we start? Can you tell us how many of you are IS people? Okay, a lot of you. Any marketing people in here? Ah, thank you. And what are the rest of you who didn't raise your hand? Yes.
Finance, and particularly in real estate. We use GIS extensively in real estate research.
Who else did? We met the planning. Okay.
Aviation management.
Okay.
I've had some GIS in the deep dark past.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Okay, thanks.
Go ahead.
I knew I would forget to do that, so Bobby was supposed to interrupt me. We're going to do this in two parts, a little bit of an overview that hopefully will address some of the differing needs of you folks. And then the meat of the presentation is the second part, how you teach this through projects in a college of business. To start, I want to show you a brief video.
That's coming up here a little bit sooner, but they gave me the wrong dressing room, and I couldn't find a place to put my stuff. And I don't know how you are, but I need a place to put my stuff. So that's why I'm you know how important that is. That's the whole meaning of life, isn't it? Trying to find a place for your stuff. That's all your house is. Your house is just a place for your stuff. If you didn't have so much goddamn stuff, you wouldn't need a house. You just walk around all the time. That's all your house is. It's a pile of stuff with a cover on it. You see when you take off on an airplane and you look down and you see everybody's got a little pile of stuff. Everybody's got their own pile of stuff. And when you leave your stuff, you better lock it up. You don't want somebody to come by and take some of your stuff. Good stuff.
Now, you might have wondered why I led off with that video. George is talking about stuff. And for the most part, George is talking about the quantity of the stuff, okay? But we're really talking about, when you start talking about geographic information systems, not only are you interested in the stuff, but you're interested in where the stuff is located. And not only that, but how the stuff, after you determine the location, might change over time. So that was sort of the purpose of the video. Now, we think that GIS is going to be the next big thing. Some people argue, you know, it's been around for over 30 years, so you know this may not be a very difficult thing to predict. But as you probably know, predicting the impact of technology is not an easy thing to do. You can see some of these quotes and so forth that give you an idea that some very famous people sort of missed the boat. Now, why we think this way is we think there are four reasons why GIS is going to be big, and we try to present some evidence to you. And then, if it is going to be big, what can you do if you're a doctoral student or if you're a faculty member? What might you do to sort of get on this bandwagon, so to speak? And so the presentation is really, this part of the presentation is basically designed to answer these or address these two issues. The everyday impacts are one of the things that I think have sort of snuck up on us. Many of you probably have a GPS system in your car. If you have a GM car, you're using OnStar. News and weather forecasts. You may notice now weather, they'll zoom in. They'll show you how many lightning strikes in a particular area. The national news now uses something like Google Earth to show you what's happening. Cell phones, all kinds of different apps. ArcGIS, which is the main product of Esri, the primary software vendor for geographic information systems, they have extended their products so they'll work on the Windows 7 and the Apple environment. You have Google Map Buddy if you want to find out where your buddies are and talk to them. Other things, I Want, geocaching, Foursquare, Google Latitude, all of these are based on geographic information systems concepts. Again, from an IS perspective, we're talking about location, or business perspective, we're talking about location-based services. What disciplines are affected by GIS? We had to make a proposal on our campus that we hope would convince the administration that they should support some GIS activity on campus. And one of the things that we did to make our case was we went through the Winthrop catalog and looked at some of the majors, and then I just took the major and GIS and Googled that and came up with, art history. You wouldn't think art history would have any relationship to GIS, but it does. If you go out to that website, you'll see a relationship. Biology, a lot of activity in biology. Chemistry, obviously computer science. Again, we continue. Now, Auburn has many more disciplines than Winthrop does, so you could probably find many more applications, but just is a flavor of the kind of things that we did. So it affects an awful lot of disciplines. So, if you're trying to make a case that, you should have a GIS presence on campus, you can talk about it being very interdisciplinary, and again, that helps you get some money. The next thing that we might want to talk about is, if you bring GIS to campus, does it help students get jobs? We've got the study from Miller and Mangold that indicates that if you look at some of the online job sites, that GIS is fairly popular. The Department of Labor has named the geospatial industry as one of the 12 areas of high growth. If you look on the next slide, this comes from Esri. These are some of the industries that use GIS. And when you start looking at that list of industries, it's hard to think of an industry where, it's not covered. If you look at your students from Auburn, where are they going to go if they're going to work in a business environment? It's probably going to be in one of these places. The next thing, on our campus, we're starting to hear a lot about sustainability, and I suspect because you have an engineering presence here, you're hearing more about it than we are. And GIS software is going to be a major tool in any kind of sustainability kinds of studies. For those of you that are in IS, you probably are familiar with the fact that MISQ has a call for papers for a special issue in sustainability. I just happened to get an email the other day. The Journal of Strategic Information Systems has a special issue on the greening of IT. I haven't had a chance to read it, but that is publicly available at that website. You can download it and read it. That might have, again, I haven't had a chance to read it. In the most recent issue of MISQ, there's a fellow that wrote a fairly extensive article on sustainability. I skimmed it the other day. I didn't see any direct mention of GIS, but again, I only skimmed it. Now if you look at, okay, what can you do? And we broke this down into several pieces. This is the first slide. What can you do? Well, from a learning perspective, there's some readings that we have a handout we'll show you. If you want to find out how GIS and IS link together, we have a list of readings. I'm going to show you some textbooks, and then I'll show you where you might go for formal coursework. For those of you that might have an interest in doing research in GIS, we have a few slides there. And then to finish this off, we have some special products from Esri that you might not be aware of that would be of interest to people in the College of Business. And then a little plug for, again, the IS people. The main professional organization for IS people is the Association of Information Systems. And within the last year, a fellow named Dan Farkas, who is at Pace University, has put together a special interest group in GIS. If any of you are interested in joining that SIG, that